So welcome to another video on beginning programming using Python. So in this video, what we're going to learn is about branching instructions. But before we get to the branching instructions, what we have learned so far is we learned instructions about input instruction. And where do we use input instruction? Anytime we want to collect some data from the user, whether it's a number or a text, we use input instruction. And we also learned about output instructions. And where do we use output instructions? Anytime we want to display data back to the users, we use print instructions. And we can display a text message to the user, or we can display numbers to the user, and we can display the combination of a text message and the numbers back to the user. So we discussed about those in the previous video. And we also learned about some instructions that we used to do the calculations. So in this video, we'll talk about branching instructions. So why do we need branching instructions? What are the branching instructions? Why do we need these branching instructions? So sometimes when you write a computer program, basically you're writing a computer program. Again, what is a computer program? Is a set of instructions, right, to the computer. So sometimes you want computer to decide whether to skip a bunch of instructions or to execute a bunch of instructions. Suppose, let's say I have 6 instructions. As you know, when the computer starts running, it starts from the first instruction, second instruction, third instruction, so on and so forth. So sometimes we want computer to skip a bunch of instructions based on some conditions. And sometimes we want the computer to repeat a bunch of instruction over and over. So if you want computer to skip a bunch of instructions, then you use something called branching instruction. And that's what we're going to be learning. And if you want computer to repeat or loop a bunch of these instructions, we will be using looping instructions that we will learn in the future videos. So today, what we'll be talking about is write Python instructions where we tell computer to skip a bunch of instructions. Basically, we tell computer to skip a bunch of instructions based on a decision. We tell the computer make a decision whether to skip these instructions or to execute the instruction. So I know it's easy to talk about it in theory, but only you understand it much better when we explain with an example. Here's an example. Let's say here I'm saying write a computer program which asks the user, you're going to ask the user to enter the burger cost, how much a burger costs. And after the user enters a burger cost, you're going to ask the user if the user wants to buy water. And if the user says yes, then you add $2 for the drink and then display the total cost. So again, you will add those $2 only if the user says yes, the user wants to buy the water. So if I have to repeat this one more time, so what you are asking the user is to enter the burger cost. Once a user enters the burger cost, you ask the user if the user wants to buy water. And if the user says yes, then you just add $2 for the drink and display total cost. So if I have to write this in simple, plain English, remember what we talked about. Before you try to write a program using Python or any other language, if you are a beginning programmer, always try to write a program in a simple, plain English. You try to write these steps in a plain English. So here, the first step here is ask the user to enter the burger cost. That's the first step. Second step is ask the user if the user wants to buy water. That's the second step. The third step is ask the user if the user says yes. Remember, in the second step, you're asking if the user wants to buy water. And the third step, you want to say, if the user says yes, and then you add $2 to the total cost. And the last step is display the total cost. So before we dive deep into the branching instructions, how to use them, understand one more time here. The instruction number 4, we want the computer to execute this only if the user says yes. In other words, we want the computer to decide whether to execute this line, that line number 4, or to skip this line. So that's where the branching instructions come into picture. And there are 4 different types of branching instructions in Python. Many of them are similar in other languages like C++, Java. So the first one is simple if, and the second one is if else, the third one is nested if else, the fourth one is if elif. So we're going to learn each one of these in detail in the future videos. But in the next video, what I'm going to explain is what is simple if. We're going to write a simple program using simple if, and we're going to solve this problem here using simple if. So we're going to write a Python program using simple if to solve this particular problem here. So that's in the next video. Thank you.